All right, Lilia, thank you. Well, tonight he's Citizen Blagojevich, but just hours ago he was still the governor of Illinois, making a long-shot attempt to save his job. Rod Blagojevich finally made his way to Springfield late this morning to insist at his Senate impeachment trial he'd done nothing wrong.
You haven't proved a crime, and you can't because it hadn't happened.
Blagojevich admitted he sometimes pushed too hard, was impatient, even mixed campaign fundraising with government decisions, but said it was in the best interest of the people of Illinois. As for the FBI's secret recordings,
those are conversations relating to the things all of us in politics do in order to run campaigns and try to win elections.
Blagojevich offered no apology as he addressed the impeachment allegations in an emotional defense.
How can you throw a governor out of office with insufficient and incomplete evidence?
The governor then smiled and left the Senate chambers. A much different sentiment presented as prosecutor David Ellis gave his rebuttal.
Not one word in that speech about the vacant U.S. Senate seat, not one word about the Tribune Company, not one word about the pay-to-play allegations, nothing.
The Senate then deliberated, many condemning Blagojevich, going on record to say he wasn't fit to hold office. Then came the votes.
Emil Jones.
Yes.
A unanimous decision to impeach and then to disqualify Blagojevich from ever holding public office in Illinois again. State senators say he dismissed the allegations but didn't deny them.
He gave a speech, again, a good speech, but not a speech that could even be admitted into evidence.
Lauren Cohn joins us live from Joliet as we continue our special series on the road to recovery. Hello, Lauren.
Robin, we are live at the department, and as you can see, this is a hopping restaurant. They actually were very ambitious and opened during the recession, so it's good to see that there are a lot of people out here tonight. But, you know, Joliet, often referred to as the prison town. That prison's been closed for years, but they've tried to shake that image and really rebuild this town. The recession has not helped them, but city leaders are very ambitious in trying to create a revenue base that looks way beyond the casinos.
Once a city with little hope, an old Rust Belt town, Joliet hit a winning streak in the 1990s and just kept on growing.
Joliet became a destination place for people that wanted housing in good school districts and with lots of amenities. And we saw our population double from 75,000 to 150,000 in 20 years.
The economic rebirth is mostly credited to the city's 2 casinos. But when the recession hit, plus a fire that shut down the Empress for 3 months in the spring, the city felt the repercussions. Revenue from gaming has dropped off dramatically. Home sales have dropped 90%. Dozens of businesses have closed, including major retail stores. And the unemployment rate is hovering around 12%.
It's a storm that we're going to be able to weather a lot better now than we did in the 70s and 80s because we're a much more diverse community and we have a better base economically.
One area thriving is Cohn Street. A tight-knit group of stores run by the Hispanic community has seen a surge in business.
The community is growing a lot, the Hispanic community. And yes, we've seen a lot of new businesses, like in front of us is just a new building, and it's growing so fast.
Collins Street is right next to what used to be the Joliet prison. Remember the opening of the Blues Brothers movie? Recently, the city received a grant to transform the parking lot into a tourist attraction. People can drive up, take pictures, and read about the history here. It's been so well received, the plan now is to turn the prison into a museum. It would be added to a list of tourist destinations that already include the city's new NASCAR track, historic museum, and old Rialto Theater. Plus, it could possibly lead to more much-needed jobs.
It was pretty devastating because I've been in the business for 25 years. I've never been out of a job, and I've never had to look so long to get a job.
Gregory Roth lost his job at the Empress Casino. Months later, he's working at the Department, a new hip restaurant whose owners took a risk opening. They've had to cut their prices and up their PR, but it's paying off.
If I didn't think that there was light at the end of the tunnel, you know, I wouldn't be here today. I mean, I completely believe in downtown Joliet.
And let's not forget the popular Route 66. From the sign to the exhibit, it's put Joliet on the map.
When Paul McCartney stops to see our Route 66 exhibit, we know we've made it.
All right, well, I'm joined now by City Manager Tom Thanis. Thanks for being with me, Tom. First, I want to talk about President Obama and the economic stimulus. How much money have you received and where's it going?
Yeah, actually, we're putting the money into roads with good dollars from the stimulus package.
What everybody wants to know is how are you going to create more jobs?
Yeah, jobs is where it's at right now. Thousands of jobs coming to Joliet.
All right, well, that is certainly good news for everybody out there, especially for those folks who are looking for jobs. Jeff and Robin, on that note, I will send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Lauren.
Friday night, a terror at a California county fair after a ride known as the Yo-Yo broke down, suddenly collapsed, and dragged the passengers on the ground until the machine came to a stop.
All the swings were just laying there and people were kneeling on the ground crying.
24 people were hurt. This just days after another young ride accident victim spoke about her experience for the first time.
If I would have died for some reason, I feel that it would have just been passed on.
14-year-old Caitlin Lassiter had her feet severed on a ride at a Six Flags in Louisville last summer. But many people wonder if her accident, the one in California, and numerous others across the country would have happened if there were stricter federal guidelines. Leading the charge, Massachusetts Congressman Ed Markey.
We need a federal law that makes it possible for a safety measure in one state to be mandated to be installed in all 49 other states.
Markey argues since the Consumer Product Safety Commission was stripped of its regulatory power in 1981, there is no federal branch of government responsible for rides at permanent amusement parks. Instead, it's up to each individual state to ensure safety.
If an accident occurs in Massachusetts, that information should be shared with California and the other 48 states. Right now, there is no requirement that it be shared.
That also means each state has its own standards. For instance, if you're taking the family to Florida, theme park titans like Disney World and Busch Gardens are exempt from inspections. Texas doesn't even employ any ride inspectors despite having 11 theme parks in operation.
Our purpose is to ensure that this industry is treated no differently than any other industry when it comes to basic consumer safety oversight.
In Illinois, the oversight comes from the Department of Labor.
I think that, we do a pretty good job in Illinois, and thankfully we haven't had a lot of incidents.
Illinois has 5 state inspectors who are able to test a ride at any time.
I know in the state of Illinois, it is a law, so they must come. I mean, it's something that's enforceable. It's just like any other law in the state.
But even the most stringent inspection doesn't always catch everything. When Katie Constantaris was 12, part of her toe was sliced off while riding the Cajun Cliffhanger at Six Flags in Gurnee.
If I walk on it a lot, I have pain in my toe, and especially when it's cold, it's really bad.
Katie and her family can only surmise if things would have turned out differently if there was a stronger system in place.
I am more cautious with it. I don't like going on the carnival type rides.
Still, not everybody is convinced more legislation is necessary. The International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions tells Fox News Chicago, quote, "There's no evidence that federal oversight would improve on the already outstanding safety record of the industry, and it could cost taxpayers millions to try." Caitlin Lassiter couldn't disagree more. She's now lobbying for more regulation to make sure your next ride isn't the ride of your life.
Then now we're going to change and make it safer so that these parents can feel comfortable with their kids going to these parks and having fun.
There are no official numbers for how many people are hurt at theme parks every year, but the CPSC estimates 19,000 patrons were injured in 2007. To learn more about ride safety, we have a list of watchdog websites at myfoxchicago.com. Lauren Cohn, Fox News Chicago.